Hello and welcome to another episode of Baggers Chat. This week we will be previewing the North Melbourne clash, boys. How are we feeling off the bat?
Nervous.
Yeah,
nervous.
nervous, bit uneasy.
Yeah, Pato?
Yeah, no, very nervous. Very nervous.
Yeah. Obviously, it's a Saturday night game again, 7:25, so slightly different time in terms of us. But last three times we met, I'm not sure if you boys remember. We lost last year, which you'll remember that. You'll famously remember, I guess, Pato's prediction and certain non-rating, I guess, of certain players.
Oh, winners got Larkey, surely.
Waiters should get that.
Surely.
Yeah, you would think so.
I mean, if he
Just
beats
that.
fucking Hawkins and all those, like the premier forwards in the comp, and he loses to Nick Larkey. I mean, no disrespect to Nick Larkey.
No
You're coming
respect
up.
to
It seemed like
but
there
you're
was a
not
lot
ready.
of disrespect.
You're not ready yet. Larkey, you're ready, but you're not ready just yet for the big Jacob Wandering.
The game before that, we won non-convincingly by 7 points, and then we got smashed by 10 goals the game before that. So it's not great, to be fair.
No,
No.
it was a pretty piss poor effort, and it was even worse that we were sitting at home. We couldn't even yell at them in real life.
Yeah.
It was a pretty shit period, wasn't it? Last year, back end of 2021, COVID and Carlton playing like shit, so nothing was really going our way.
Yeah.
Nah, it wasn't ideal. All right, I'll get stuck into a few little stats. I'll ask you boys that I've sort of, I guess, noticed in a way, and I'll get your boys' opinion on them. One that stood out, which I guess it's probably direct, more Adam Sard, I think he does it a bit, but just like the bounces, I thought crazy. Like their average is 3.8 a game. We average over 12. We've done 73. They've done 23. Like it's 50 difference. I thought that was just quite significant. I don't think it makes a big deal. I guess we basically run a lot, but I think we just bounced it on, when it's not even needed, to be fair. But it just stood out a bit. But thought I'd mention it. 1%ers, they lead that. Clearances are pretty similar. The one thing I did want to look at was the hitouts. We average a bit less than 30. We're there around the 40 mark. But just as we film this on Thursday morning, their ruckman has gone down. Ethan, do you want to tell us a bit about that, mate?
Yeah, so you sent it through to the chat just literally probably 10 minutes ago, so I haven't had much to read on it, but obviously Cherry's out, which I thought would have been a pretty good matchup for TDK, being also a youngish ruckman. I think he's been playing pretty decent this year. I know they haven't been great, but he's been solid. They found a hot spot in his foot. So he's out for 4 weeks. So all the best in his recovery. But I think it might have to be Goldie versus TDK.
Absolutely. Do you see Murkov coming in at all, or who do you see jumping in the ruck to help out TDK, or what do you see happening there, mate?
I think it'll be TDK and Silvani for mine.
Pato, what do you reckon, mate?
Yeah, exactly right. I think it'll be TDK and Silvani.
No Murkov. All right. Speechley, you agree?
Yep, the same. No Murkoff for me yet.
Sweet. Alrighty. If he was to go and we were to play Murkov and TDK, who would be the ruck for the VFL?
That's a good question.
I reckon
Ethan Daffy, I reckon.
Ben Crocker.
Get a big dubster
hopefully
up.
not that case.
Nah, I don't think they're that desperate.
I'm sure they'd have some, tall they can bring in. I don't know.
Yeah. Alrighty, let's have a look. So, Jack Carroll appears to be, obviously, as we film this, we don't know exactly who's playing, but it seems pretty likely, I think. Is it all but locked in that he's playing, I believe? How do you feel about that, Pato?
Yeah, I think it's all but locked in because I think it was Sam Edmund who reported it saying that maybe it was Sam McClure, one of the two, but then he came out saying that Carroll and Stocker will be expected back in the side, but I don't know, it's a tough one because I don't really know where he fits in, so maybe that might be like a wing position, and maybe like a Will Setterfield or maybe even like a Matthew Cottrell might get dropped. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what actually happens.
Absolutely. Ethan, what do you reckon, mate?
Yeah, I think he's playing extremely well. I was surprised he didn't get a go last year, considering the terrible form we were in at the back end of the year. I think it might be a good thing, actually, that he wasn't playing under T, because he would have been full forward and captain by the end of the year. So, no, but I think he's been good. I think he was good on the weekend, and I think they beat Werribee, I think,
Yep.
by just
Yeah.
under a few
Good
goals.
comeback win too.
Yeah, and he's I just like the way he plays. He's a tallish mid. He's good left foot. That provides something different as well. A left footer that can also go in the midfield. Because we've got a few of those. I guess we've got O'Brien, which is on the outside more, but on the inside we don't really have a left footer. So no, it'll be good. I think he'll come in for a Nunes. I think Nunes and Cottrell have to go out, and he has to come in.
Absolutely, mate. Speechley.
Yeah, obviously he's been playing really well in the twos. He definitely deserves the opportunity, I think, especially after how the team performed last week. I think it definitely doesn't hurt to bring in someone who, has been proving their spot in the twos. So I'm not mad at that. I think he'll probably play a higher half forward sort of type of role, rotating in the midfield. I don't think he'll probably go on a wing too much. That's not really anywhere near his position that he has been playing in the twos. But yeah, that's just what I reckon.
Absolutely. All right. Well, we mentioned the who you think's coming out. Do you want to give us just the changes you would make, I guess, for this week? Obviously, as I assume when this is released, we'll already know. But do you want to just give us your changes that you'd make, mate? Overall.
Yeah, right. So I have Sauce and Kennedy returning. Obviously, Carroll and Stocker has been reported, and then O'Brien to come back in, and then Pitto, Boyd, Parks, Setterfield, and Nunes to go out this week for me.
So is it 4 changes? Is it
5?
5. Okay. Wow. Pato.
Yeah, I have Silvani coming in for Pitnet, Stocker coming in for Parks, Kenny coming in for Boyd, Carroll coming in for Cottrell, and a certain debut for a player. Jesse Motlop will come in for Matthew Owies. So I think that would be good to see him get his opportunity after some hard work. But also Jack Carroll. I feel like if they have a few debutants, that would be good. But also for the VFL, maybe if Lockie O'Brien, Josh Honey, and Omac all play this week and impress, they will be up for selection in the next few weeks.
Yeah, and just on that, VFL obviously is, I think, 2:00 this Saturday at Icon Park, the New York House, Speechley.
Sure is.
Make sure you get down. Ethan, what changes would you be making, mate?
Yeah, I'm very similar to Speech and Pato. There's so many changes you can make after a pretty terrible performance on Saturday night against the Dockers. But it's hard, it's tough. I always get a bit mixed up with the sub, like, is he dropped? I don't know. But for me, it's Sauce, Kennedy, Carroll, Stocker in, Pitto, Nunes, Cottrell, Parks out. I think obviously Carroll deserves it. Stocker, I don't know why he's playing VFL. I think it's a waste of time. I think he needs to be playing at the high level. He's too good for that level. Kennedy, I hope he's fit. Apparently he is ready for selection, according to the Carlton fitness staff. And Sauce is huge, considering Pitto's out. And it's lucky Sauce isn't out another week. Otherwise, I think Murkov would have had to come in.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he can't be too far away. He got 42 hit outs, I think, last week. I think he's pretty much ready to go. It's more, I think if TDK has a few games where he's not performing, do you make that swap and Murkov literally just leapfrogs him almost, or?
Oh, I don't know. I saw a few of his highlights in the first few games, and he's really developed his game. Like, he's hitting targets up forward, and that's a good sign.
Yeah.
I definitely think he should. Like, if he's on the list, why not? If he earns it, of course, you got to earn it.
Yeah.
But I think if he earns it, then give him a debut.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, you made the joke about was it Carroll, I think, and playing on a Teague and how he'd be full forward and captain and everything, pretty much running the show. A player that has definitely increased his game from last year is none other than the skipper, Patrick Cripps, who received another, the 10 AFL-CA, so they call them, votes for his 32 disposal performance and 3 goals I think he kicked. So I think that's just crazy in of itself. I think it was the third time this season he's taken all 10 votes. So full credit to him. And yeah, he's just keeps going to a new level each and every week. All right, Ethan, do you want to take us through the key matchups, mate?
Yeah, so this is interesting. Obviously, I've had to make a little change late due to the Cherry injury. So obviously, we'll start up forward as I usually do. This is one I think that can really break open the game, and I say it every week because we've got 2 big forwards who are very, very good. Curnow and Mackay versus Josh Walker and Core. Obviously, no Ben Mackay because Harry and Ben are the same person. So, what's your thoughts on this kind of defensive and forward duos going at it, Pato?
Yeah, no, I am convinced that Harry Mackay and Ben Mackay are the same person. But yeah, no, I definitely think that. I mean, I don't want to say too much because, especially from last year, it's kind of haunted me from last year. So Nick Larkey was one of the more overrated players of the comp. So I'm going to be very careful with my words here. But I think Josh Walker is a defender that's kind of been a battler. Like he hasn't been one of the best defenders in the league, but he's been a solid defender for many years. So I think he will go straight to Kerno. Core is actually a solid player. I think he could probably cause some trouble for Mackay. So it's gonna be interesting. But I think Harry and Charlie will be up to it.
Well said, Pato. Speechley.
Well, I mean, obviously North have the best defense in the entire league. Walker and Cole definitely keep Kerno and Mackay goalless. En route to a massive 100-point win. Look, we should get the chocolates there. I think. Obviously, I mean, no discredit to them at all. I just think Kerno and Mackay just that step above them. But I mean, yeah, definitely no disrespect at all. Unlike Pato with the Super last year, there's definitely no disrespect at all.
Well said. Very, very, very safe words there from Speechley. Carlton.
Yeah. Well, as you know, my lack of football knowledge outside of the Blues is very limited, but Josh Walker is pretty average, to say the least. So, yeah, Kerno, Mackay, whoever sort of goes to him for the most part, should have a day out and kick 5.
Yeah, realistically, I don't really 100% agree with Pato and saying Core's solid and Walker's solid. I don't think they're very good, to be honest. That's just shown the last few weeks. I love the respect, Pato. I love the respect, but
I think that's the main thing. I didn't want to say they are complete.
No, same here. But realistically, I'm not saying they're fucking shit.
Of course.
You know, we should really be getting the job done.
And also, just on that, we've got to be careful with what we say. Shout out to Jai, one of our mates, North Melbourne supporter. He'll be watching and he'll be holding us to each prediction we make. So we've got to be careful.
Exactly.
And
realistically,
yep.
And yeah, like I think realistically, Charlie and Harry are they are so much better than these guys. So I think that realistically, we kind of know that these guys can get the job done and dominate.
Yep, spot on, Pato. Next matchup in the ruck. So it's been a bit of talked about, especially with Carlton, with Pito going down. Teddy K being the main ruck. He'll probably be up against Goldstein, or maybe I heard of Callum Coleman-Jones played it right in the twos, which I'm not necessarily too worried about. But Goldstein versus Teddy K, what are your thoughts, Speechley?
I mean, when you look at it on face value, Goldie should win that quite easily. You know, experienced ruckman, has been a very, very good ruckman for a long time. Obviously, he's been playing forward a lot this year with Sherry being the main ruck. Obviously, with him being out, I can see Goldie having a Goldie game, and that scares me. But I think as long as our mids are up to that and aware that Goldie's probably going to be the number one ruck in this game, then I don't think it should affect us too much. Well said, Speechley. Pattinson.
Yep, completely agree with Speechley. I think that, I mean, he's been a great ruckman for so many years, Todd Goldstein. So it's a tough one, but I think it will be interesting to actually see what happens. But I think TDK, it's another test because once again, he's a premier ruckman. He's been a great ruckman for many years. So I think it's another test, and I don't know, as Speechley said, I think he's going to be the biggest threat between the 2 or 3 ruckmen. So I don't know, it's going to be interesting to see, but I think the midfield should definitely prepare.
Yeah, it will be tough. Carlton, can TDK get the job done?
Yeah, no, you can't get the job done. But as sad as it sounds, but look, we're not expected to smash them in the hitouts. Like, that's been pretty consistent now that we've lost the hitouts quite convincingly, at least when TDK has been the sole ruck. So I don't expect TDK to sort of really be able to challenge Goldie too much. But I think just our midfield alone, it shouldn't be too bad.
Yeah, we should really set up defensively a bit more around the
Exactly.
stoppage, especially, or where Goldie's hitting it. So we've got to be a bit smarter as a midfield group. There's also midfield coaches. I'm sure they're talking about it during the week. Now move on to the forward matchup, and this guy he haunts the baggers chat, and he will for years, I think. Nick Larkey, the ultimate Nick Larkey, the 7-goal king last year, will take on Jacob Wiedering. What are your thoughts, Pato? You have to go very, very safe here.
Nick Larkey, 2 kicked, 17 goals, 3. He'll be best on ground. Coleman to lead the Coleman.
Three behind.
I know. I think it will, because Nick Larkey's actually been pretty good this year. So he's been solid. So I don't think Wiedering will go into the contest kind of expecting to make it what he probably thought last year about this will probably be a simple contest. He should get the job done, but now he should actually walk in saying that Nick Larkey's probably up there. I think he is up there for the Common, isn't he? He's probably top 10.
Yeah, well, he kicked about 15 against the Waffle All-Stars, aka West Coast. So.
Oh yeah. So then he kicked a lot there, but I think it will be a contest that Wiedering should get done because he's been okay, Wiedering, and also he's been a little bit under form, so it's going to be interesting, and I think this is probably a good test for him once again to step up.
So has Wiedering been okay or under form?
He's not been up to the All Australian form that he's been the past few years. So he's been.
That's what I would agree. I would agree with that. That's what I thought. But then I actually looked at the amount of goals he's conceded to his opposition player, and he's actually, is better than what I probably expected it to be. I'm not sure if the numbers are skewed there at all, but I thought he'd been off a bit. But I'm not sure your guys' thoughts on that. But I thought Wiedering hadn't been up to his best, and I think we can always still say he hasn't been up to his best. But he hasn't conceded many goals according to the stats. So I thought that was quite.
Yeah, that is interesting. I was looking at it the other day, just all the different defenders and how many goals they've conceded, and he's up there for the best. Maybe we're just being a bit harsh. I'm not sure, unless it's just the other 5 in the back 6 that really need a lift. I think.
I think that's the thing. I think he misses Jones a bit. Would you agree with that? Like, just in terms of missing Liam Jones, I think that's a pretty big change. Yeah,
and for me, I think defensively we need to keep our back 6 very consistent. The good sides, they don't change and chop all the time. We brought in heaps. I think we had Parks and different guys come in, Lewis Young, which I think has been good as well. But we just got to keep a consistent back 6, which we know what we're going to get out of each of them every week. But yeah, very, very good point, Carlton, and very good points, Pattinson. Speechly.
Obviously he's dangerous, Larky, when he gets a bit of space. He can be dangerous. I think Weeder's got to try and take that away from him. But without being outlandish, obviously, I think last year was probably an outlier, obviously for Larky. I wouldn't expect that to happen again. But at the same time, would not be surprised if it did. So, just hope Weedering's on his game, of course.
Yeah, done, Weeders. Otherwise, we will be forever haunted by the Larky. Moving on, Sammy.
Can I say the speech real quick? Can you get off the fence? Larky, how many goals is he going to kick, mate? Tell me. You won't be surprised, but he shouldn't kick 7. Just how many is he going to kick, in your opinion? 3. All right. I think he will be kept to 1. He was made to look a lot better. He's had a good year, to be fair, but he's made to look a lot better last year than he really is. So 1, maybe 2 goals to Larky, I would have thought. All right, moving on to Under the Pump. We'll go to you, Pato. Who do you have for Under the Pump, mate?
Zachary Bitter Wizard Fisher. He will be under the pump once again this week. He's been probably my under pump, probably about, I think, the most this year, at least 3 times. Every single time we've done the under the pump segment. But Zach Fisher, I don't know, because once again, he played probably well 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. He got a lot of the ball, and I'm like, okay, so he's a high forward. He's a guy that moves up into the midfield, kind of on the wing, likes bringing the ball in to kick it into our forwards. On the weekend, he got 9 touches. So that's the difference. He's too inconsistent. And once again, I'm still not clear what his role is. And yes, he might be that X factor sort of player, but what's Jack Martin then? And what's the Corey Jones and what's the Matt Owies? What's all these guys? There's too many guys that I reckon play in the same position. I think personally, Jack Martin is the X factor. and Zach Fisher just needs to find that role. And I just think that that's down to Vossi actually saying something to him, saying, look, probably maybe stick 2 or 3 weeks in the VFL and find some form there.
It's interesting that you say that about the low disposals as well. Last week we spoke about all our big disposal getters, and we had the top 5 or whatever it was for, I mean, it shows how good our midfield was. And we said that where were we lacking? If you actually scroll down to the bottom as well, I think we have about 10 out of the bottom, 13. So obviously, when you're always at the top, you expect there to be quite a few at the bottom, obviously, just naturally. But I think that's just a contrast between our best players and our worst players. And I think there's just too many of the, as you said, one type of player. Hence having, 10 players, I think, that didn't reach 10 disposals, which is just about that anyway, which is quite alarming. But yeah, what do you got, Ace?
For me, it's not an individual. I did read Jack saying entire team, which is correct as well. I think the entire team need a fucking lift. But specifically for me, it's the Carlton Smalls that need a lift. I think they've been pretty lackluster the last 2 weeks, I think. Really just not supporting our bigs at all. Like, the amount of times Harry and Charlie bring the ball to ground is crazy. And, there's so many opportunities for guys like Durden and Owies to snatch those chances and kick goals, which they tended to do in the, the first, 3 weeks, I think, of the season. But they're just not there. And it just shows, it really ruins the structure quite a bit, especially when we're not playing too great. When we get a couple entries, we've got a bit of momentum and it just comes straight back out. Their opponents are just get taken out easy. So they've just got to lift and get some goals on the board. I think if they're not dropped, Owies and Durden need a lift. But I think Durden's been a little bit better than Owies, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. But yeah, I agree. Like when Harry, especially Harry, when they're not marking the ball, they're sort of crashing the pack, bring it to a key spot for a small forward to run on, or at least be around the vicinity. But the last few weeks, it seemed haven't seemed to be there. But yeah, what about you, Speechley? The entire team.
As Daff said, I've got the entire team under the pump. I think it's purely just because when you played that bad as a collective, like we did last week, it's hard to pinpoint individuals. So I think just basically as a collective group, we all need a lift as one. And so we're not having passengers like we did probably the last few weeks. We've had too many passengers. So I think if they all lift and we're one collective unit, then I think, it'll be a long way for us, not just winning, but getting a good percentage boost as well.
Yep, absolutely, mate. Completely agree. I'll just cherry pick off Ethan's. I thought his was pretty good. I thought they were all pretty good, but the Smalls need to lift as well. Pato, have you got an injury update for us, mate?
Yeah. So the big OMAC is a test for this week. Austin McDonald. So obviously he had a back injury, back spasms the past few weeks. Came off the round 2 game with a bit of back spasms. So obviously he has a history with this injury. So he's a test this week, but I think he's been a test or a week away for the past month. So once again, as we mentioned in the last episode, it's going to be interesting to see what actually happens with his injury. But hopefully, I don't think he'll play AFL. Even if he does play, I don't think he'll play AFL. I think he'll just play VFL. So moving on to obviously our ruckman that we lost last game, Mark Pitnet, to a PCL injury. We weren't too sure. It wasn't confirmed last episode if he did do his PCL, but obviously the scans have come back that he has done his PCL. So that's 8 to 12 weeks, which is really unfortunate. Crucial injury, probably one of our biggest, most important injuries for the year. So let's hope the recovery goes well, but and let's hope to get him back as soon as possible. Callum Marchbank, a player that we spoke about last week. So he's once again done something to his knee. 2 to 4 weeks away. I don't think he'll play AFL soon. I don't know. Especially in the first few weeks when he returns, I don't see him playing AFL. Just to build his way back into the side, really. And last but certainly not least, David Cunningham. Obviously he did his ACL last year against Melbourne. So he's expecting a return around maybe round 14 to maybe round 18. And I expect him to slot straight into the VFL and maybe just build towards next year and maybe not play AFL this year and kind of just build towards next year. But what's your thoughts on that, Daff?
Yeah, that's an interesting one. I think it's a different outlook at injuries this year. I think, I expect us to make finals. So I think guys like Marchie and Cunners can come back the back end of the year. Obviously, if they're good enough, if their form is good enough. Pito's a huge out. I still think we need to be able to not focus on one guy's injury, and as a collective, we need to change the way we play, or prioritize certain things. Maybe not be so good at the stoppage, but be better at other things. But obviously a huge out. Hope he's all good and recovers well. And McDonald is an interesting one. They'll just get him to play VFL.
Yeah. Speechley?
Yeah, I think as Daff said, I think structure changes is probably a big thing this week and the next 12 weeks, I guess. Without Pito, I think behind the ball needs to be structured a lot better. But yeah, I think we've been pretty good with injuries this year, unlike most other years. So hopefully, touch wood, that continues.
Yeah, Sam.
Excuse me. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's hard to see. I guess Marchbank or Cummins, because people are saying we do miss them or whatever. But so who actually comes in for them in your opinion, Pato? Let's say March hypothetically was good to go next week. Cummins good to go. Obviously, we need VFL form after being away for so long. But sort of, who do you see them coming in for? Do you see anyone losing their spot for them, or?
Yeah, I think we are really missing a Mitch McGovern sort of backman right now. And if Mitch McGovern isn't, I mean, I definitely would prefer Mitch McGovern right now to come back into the side over Marchbank, because you haven't seen him play in a while. But Marchbank, I think, is that perfect small forward, but tall forward as well. He's like a Lockie Plowman. And obviously he's probably on the same sort of range as Lockie Plowman. But I don't know. It's going to be tough to see. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what his actual role is. But I think that he will probably be that small to tall forward. Yeah,
absolutely. Ethan, talk to me, mate. You're smiling. What's up?
No, I completely agree with Pato. They're small talls, but I think Marchbank's 10 times the Plough is. I think I love Marchbank. I know he's played barely any games, but fuck, he's good. He's a tall boy. He could almost be that second tall. He's he's very, very good when he gets going, and obviously fit, which he's barely been fit. But it'd be interesting. I think Carter's is a big one too. I think he can play any position. He can play small forward, wing, middle, anywhere. So he's the one that we really need, and he can cover any injury, any type of form issues in the lineup. The Blues are back when Cutters is back.
It's all rested on his shoulders, is it?
Yeah.
All right. Especially, I'll ask you another question real quick then. So just on that, how harsh do you have to be on these players? I'm going to go Marchbank over Cutters, because Cutters has been, 12 months now, March. I feel like he hasn't played in years. I forgot he played for us.
29 years last time, yep.
Yeah. How harsh do you have to be? 2 to 4 weeks, VFL return, obviously. Let's say he's ready for AFL in 8 weeks. If, touch wood, say something does happen, which obviously you never hope for, is that sort of it for Caleb Marchbank, or how harsh, I guess, do we need to be? I know it's pretty brutal, but...
Yeah, no, it is brutal, but it's fair at the same time. I think, we've put so much time and effort into him. And as much as we'd love him to play, I think it is fair to think that, if he can't get up this year and he's still struggling heading into next preseason, then, is it worth it? Is his talent worth, waiting 3-4 years for him to come back? I personally don't think so, but I can definitely understand if people are the opposite at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. I wasn't going to ask this, but I'm going to ask it now real quick, just before we get into our predictions, and then questions, we can wrap it up. But a lot of people have been saying it. I don't necessarily subscribe to it, I guess, but the Pitnet, obviously we wish him well, just how the injury was sustained in terms of the no eyes for the ball. That's what they're saying. I'm not going to get involved, but I'll leave it to you boys. Speechley, what's your opinion on that, mate? Obviously, you'd like to think no one goes out there to hurt anyone. You'd love to think that, but how do you feel about
that? I don't think it's that bad from Darcy. I like Sean Darcy. I think it's just one of those, just a different sort of ruck craft. I think Cruiser did a lot, watching how the other ruckman was going and how he was jumping. And then obviously, it was just a little bit unlucky with how the injury happened, but I don't think it was, at all, malicious at all. I think it was, very similar to how Cruiser used to ruck. So I've got no ill intentions at all.
Yeah, I agree. Ethan, Pato, you agree with that, boys?
Yeah. I think it's more unlucky kind of situation. I think it happens too much in the AFL, and I think they need to fix the way centre bounces are actually officiated, in my opinion. There's too many free kicks for if a guy puts his hand on the other ruckman. I think that's why PCL, because they just go up there with their knee. They're both going up with their knee. I know that's a usual ruck contest, but they can't actually use their arms or anything to gain an advantage, which is annoying. So they need to definitely look at it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was Sam Newman that changed it from the original really small circle, and they just ran at each other, just charged at each other from 30 metres away, which is probably a good thing they don't do that anymore. But all right, we'll get stuck into some questions real quick. We'll get through them nice and quick. Murkov gets a debut. We've sort of all agreed no, not this week anyway. So we can go to the next one. But thank you to K Khaled 1 for the question. Noah Fisher, good mate of the show. After 6 rounds, where do you see the Baggers finishing up? Give us a little brief summary, Speechley.
In terms of ladder position, ladder range, 7th to 10th.
Okay. Ethan? Probably first, knowing you.
Yeah, no, similar to Speechley, but I think I've got 5th to 8th, just due to the draw we have.
Okay, yeah. Pato?
Yep, I think 5th to 8th as well. Definitely.
Absolutely. All right. Thanks, Nusty, for the question. Declan Johnson asks, what are Carlton's 3 biggest weaknesses at the moment? Another friend of the show. Pato?
Yeah, I think purely just that ruck, the ruck depth. Also, just trying to find another probably small forward that is just a guy that kind of absolutely dominates games. But also hopefully a Durnan always kind of turns that way as well. But also a third one, not too sure. I think we're pretty much set. We just need to just try and stick with this list. I think we got the talent. We just need to just try and stick with it and trust the process.
Absolutely. Speech and Ethan, do you agree with that, boys, or anything else to add?
I'd probably just add probably defensive structure and probably our wingers as well, probably at the moment.
Yep. Ethan?
Yeah, defense for me. That's pretty much the main one. I think it's the most shaky, and I think that will actually hurt us in the long run this season.
Absolutely. Thanks for the question. Another question, Riley Burke, our mate Speech. Are Harry and Ben Mackay the same person? Well, it is looking like that, Riley. I think it's is it 7 years now? It's the 7th time or whatever that we've played and they haven't played against each other. So yeah, it's definitely an interesting one. All right, we'll get stuck into the match predictions. Pato, how do you see the game unfolding, mate?
If Jesse Motlop plays, he will kick the first goal. If not, I've got Harry Mackay. Best on ground, I've got our skipper, Paddy Cripps, and I've got Carlton to win by 39 points.
Bang. Ethan?
Yep, quickly. Mackay, first goal, best on ground, Brownlow Cripps, tip Carlton by 34, and that's being nice.
That's being nice. All right. Speechley, how much do you tip North by, mate?
Well, I got Sauce the first goal. I got Sardi off halfback for best on, and North by 80. No, I'm kidding. Carlton by 20. Carlton by 20.
Beautiful. All right. I have got Kerno first goal, and I'll go Bam Bam for best on ground, assuming he's all good. And then I reckon we will get the chocolates by, I'd say, 26 points. So there we go, boys. All right. If you're not already, get your tickets. Get down there. We'll see you all, when is it, Saturday night? And then the VFL Saturday Arvo. Like, follow, subscribe, share, do all that good stuff. And Pato?
And as always, boys, up the Baggers.